So this is the first video that I'm going to reference regarding pelvic floor and core health. As moms, regardless of the type of birth that you had, this is pivotal as we continue to build the foundation that will serve us forever. In this video, I'm just going to explain why, and then I'm going to drop a free resource in an automation of a 5-minute mobility series to do for your pelvic floor. I want you to save that video and you can refer back to it at any point. It will be something that as we deal with stress, we add load from movements, just life in general to refer back to. It's going to help with pelvic floor release and some of the tension that we might experience from stress of being moms and maybe sitting a lot. Um, Again, our pelvic floor and core take a huge hit when we become pregnant. So, as belly grows, or as baby grows, our belly grows. So we have our abs that sit here, and then as the baby grows, it goes like this, right? So you might have heard of that as diastasis, or DR, diastasis recti. And so when the baby comes out, usually sometimes this stays here, so those are those rare cases in diastasis where like I could put my entire palm in between your abs. But if our abs grow out, we need to make intentional work to help them come back together after baby is born. Sometimes it happens naturally, a lot of times it can, depending on what our activity level in life was like prior to having kids, or if we lifted and exercised and did those things during pregnancy, it can serve us in our recovery period postpartum. Um, for the case of if you had a C-section, not only did your abs separate during pregnancy, but you had 7 layers of skin cut through to have the baby come out. And so there's a huge toll that your core takes after baby is born. What happens is like the priorities are on the baby then and not us, right? Like take care of baby first. But really, we need to take care of ourselves so that we can support baby and load after life of giving birth. Um, Again, pelvic floor and core. A lot of times, what happens is I'm going to turn sideways. When you're pregnant, as your belly grows, your pelvis might start to tilt this way to support the load that is coming here. So what that does is it makes our hips really tight and it makes our hamstrings elongated. That is amplified by sitting. So if you have a desk job, or maybe you already have another kid that you're sitting a lot. So I'm sitting in this chair, this compromised position all the time. Chairs is like the new, sitting is like the new smoking. We want to move more, but realize that's not as easy when we have like newborns or kids, or we have desk jobs, things like that. So we have to make extra intent. In general, with pelvic floor and core health, walking more is going to serve you a lot. There are things from breathing that we can do, stretching, and then intentional strength movements to support our pelvic floor and core health. So, a lot of the programming in this course is going to help with activating our glutes. So, if you have an anterior pelvic tilt, it's going to help with strengthening the glutes and rotating back into a more neutral position. That's going to help release some of that pressure. If you have a forward tilt, and then now I'm trying to do a back squat, we might feel a lot of tension on our lower back because of that forward rotation of our spine in our pelvis. The opposite might be true for some moms where you might be the one like, oh, I don't have an ass anymore after having kids. Baby might have made you rotate backwards. And so now your butt is tucked under. There are a lot of movements that will come up in the programming and then through the duration of this course where I explain how these movements help us close that gap between our core. What happens and how to do that is we call them slings. So they go from like shoulder, I'll stand up. They go from like shoulder to hip and then shoulder to hip. So when our belly grows, comes out, our abs separate. So it's not just doing like crunches to help close the gap here or these twists like that. There's more to that. We want to connect from here to here and here to here. So we'll do a lot of like Pallof presses, anti-rotational. If you don't know what I mean by any of this yet, that's okay. That's the point of this course. I'm going to explain it to you. There will also be some breathing videos because when we're stressed, we often hold a lot of tension in our pelvic floor. So I'm the infamous like CrossFit athlete that pees when you jump rope. I did that before I was ever pregnant. It's often not because our pelvic floor is too weak, it's that it's too strong. And it's too strong is because we either hold our breath or we hold tension or we hold stress in our like lower abdomen or our pelvic floor in that core area. Or if you are like, how I used to be, we suck in our tummy because we're wearing a bathing suit. When you suck in, you're putting a lot of tension there and it makes our pelvic floor really tight. Throughout this course, we're going to kind of work on some like breathing techniques to help you with where to hold tension. But this short 5 minute video that is going to be linked for today to review and like do is going to be a foundation for you to help you breathe through some of these movements for where we hold tension in our pelvic floor and our core. So again, I wanted to keep this short, but I wanted to introduce pelvic floor and core work to you because as we level up as athletes and in moms, having a strong pelvic floor and core and knowing how to utilize it with intent is going to help prevent injury. It's going to help prevent back pain. It's going to help do a lot of things for us and quite literally carry the load of our life and the demands of it as moms. So, again, this is just the beginning. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if the video doesn't work that has the 5 minute mobility circuit for your pelvic floor core. But I'm excited for you to start working through that. And this is just the beginning of pelvic floor and core stuff.